Hi, I'm Steph from Stitching with Steph, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing another stitch with me, and it's our large canvas koi and peony design by Classical Cross Stitch. It is 11 count, 91 by 181 centimeters. It is consistent of 57 colors. This particular design, I do not have a link for it as it's been in my stash for a while, so I do apologize about that. If you're my subscribers and you're returning for another stitch with me, thank you. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me today. If you're not a subscriber and this is the type of content that you like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated on my posts throughout the week. I do a few stitch with me's, I do reviews, content like that. If you like this particular canvas, go ahead and give this video a like. Lastly, we do have a Facebook group, so if that's something that you're interested in, to have friends that are into the same type of extracurricular activities as you, anything stitchy related is welcome there. And that link is down in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started on this week's Stitch with Me.
All right, guys, we're back for another week of stitching. So last week was kind of chaotic, as I said in a couple of my videos. I went to work, did my daughter's graduation, all that fun stuff throughout the week. So hopefully I can get back on track. Um, this one probably won't be as long as the other ones, maybe about 20 minutes or so, just so that way I can kind of get back on track with my filming and school started and all that fun stuff. So again, I haven't touched this, as you can clearly see from last week. I kind of did my stitch with me and then parked my frame to the side. So I'm doing that number 39. Hopefully I can finish this thread with you guys. And it is DMC 995. And I've already unthreaded my needle. And it's this pretty blue color, as you can see there. So like I said, this stitch with me might not be as long as what it usually is, but it's just so that way I can get back on track with my filming schedule and incorporating school back in and summer breaks in full swing. And the first week out of summer break is always interesting because it's like we sleep in, we kind of just do our own little thing. But there is no we since school started for me this week. And luckily it's an easier class, so I'll take it. That's why I chose to do this class online, because it's human growth and development. It's a psychology class, so it's a lot of just paying attention to lectures and studies and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. But other than that, today I don't have much going on. I did gardening first thing in the morning. During the summer months, that's what I do. Oh, let me see. During my summer months, that's what I do. I do a lot of gardening in the morning time. So like I'll wake up early. I literally, it's weird because although I work night shift, I cannot um sleep in late on my days off. The sun naturally just wakes me up. So during the summertime, I'll do all my gardening, and especially since I am taking classes online, it kind of works for me. So I wake up about 6:30. I'll go and water all my plants because I like watering before the sun comes up super hot. I'll make sure my grass is watered, which has been raining a lot, so I haven't been needing to water my grass. And one of my dogs busted my sprinkler head, so I actually have to fix that on my days off. And then I water all my raised beds. I water all my plants in the front because they're newly establishing still. I always water daily until I know my plants are established, just so because they do get that transplant shock, right? So yeah, that's what I've done so far this morning. And then I look to see what assignments I have to do. Not much. I just got to do a couple of discussion posts and view my lectures and my PowerPoints, but that's about it. But yeah, I'm just doing laundry. I feel like every time I think I like multitasking. So every time that I film a video, I legit am doing laundry. So yeah, I feel like for you guys, it's like, Steph, what are you doing today? A stitch with me in laundry. That's like, you guys will probably know what my laundry routine is at this point, just because you're along for the ride every single time. Like I just heard my washer stop for my son's clothes. So I'm just gonna, I'll finish this video, take a little break, drink some coffee. So you guys, this is where I'm at today. I don't know what my deal is. I honestly think because I've been gardening a lot, my hands kind of hurt. They've been kind of sore since last week. The cuts are healing because I garden by hand. If I know I'm going to be like getting my hands wet, I don't even bother with gloves. So, and I've been moving around a lot of rock because where I'm putting, like where my fire pit is, we originally weren't going to put raised beds there, but I'm adding 3 raised beds. So I needed to move all the rock out so that way my raised bed was touching the soil. Because I like I was saying in my last video, I think last week it was my koi one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was. Uh, I like my raised beds touching the soil. I don't like putting a barrier between my soil and my bed because I like worms to migrate into my raised beds. They keep my beds nice and healthy, and some people are like weird about certain pests, but I like certain ones in my bed. Like worms aren't necessarily pests, they're beneficial to your ecosystem in your soil. But for example, people don't like wasps, right? And I'm like, I love wasps and bees because bees, I like them because they pollinate. I make sure my wasps don't go near my pollinating plants just because I don't want them to tussle with the bees for like their own little territory, I guess you would say. But wasps, if you guys didn't know, is actually really beneficial at keeping aphids out of your garden. Ladybugs are. What else is there? Let me think. What else have I used? I've used praying mantis, wasps, ladybugs, even spiders. Not spider mites, guys. Spiders, like regular old spiders. So if I see like a nest in my garden beds, I kind of leave it just because they're beneficial to my gardens. I'm knocking on wood this year. Okay. I have never had real issues of pests. Have I had to spray here once in a while? And when I do, it's neem oil, NEEM oil. But I've never had huge issues with pests in my garden just because I let the bugs, the beneficial bugs, even though people are terrified of them, and I did it again, just take care of it for me because, I mean, that's what nature intended them for, right? So I remember last year I keep sunflowers growing in my yard because I like birds to come into my yards. They don't pick at my fruit, surprisingly. They don't mess with my like tomatoes and stuff. But on one of my sunflowers, we started getting Japanese beetles. So I would go out there every day and like pluck them off, and then I would kill them, but the wasps would actually eat them. So I know this sounds horrible. I would kind of squish them on the vine of the sunflower, and then I would let the wasps eat them because then it attracted more wasps to that plant that those Japanese beetles were attracted to, and it kept the Japanese beetles away. So it worked. Okay. All right, guys, I just had to pause you because for some unjustifiable reason, it knotted up on the back and I had to fix it, and I took a drink of coffee. So kill 2 birds with 1 stone, you know? But yeah, so like I was saying, if you have a garden or you're wanting to try gardening, Google is your best friend. Like I learned a lot of this stuff from my mom and I've taught it to my daughter, kind of passed down from generation to generation. However, um, sorry, that twisted up on me. However, if I don't know something, I Google it, guys. Like there are so many gardening like websites and groups that you can kind of like our cross stitching stuff, right? Like I don't know everything, and whatever I don't know, I go and I learn it and then I apply it and then I try to pass that knowledge on to like you guys or somebody else that's wanting to learn how to do this. So, yeah. So, that's my little tidbit, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for next year. It's not even summertime yet, guys, because next summer, I'm going to be taking microbiology, but that's going to be in person. So, because that's a class that you have to take in person, unfortunately. So I'm hoping before the semester starts, I'll have my garden up and running and then my irrigation. I have it all set up. I just need to fine tune it next year. And I can work on that throughout the year or throughout the summer to fine tune it for what I need. I'm a big fan of drip irrigation. Saves so much money for you. If you're a gardener and you want to garden large scale like what I'm going to do, drip irrigation is your way to go. So, yeah. Sorry guys, I'm really focused on this part because there's a rail like right here. Oops, sorry. There's the rails like right there. You could probably see it through there. So it's a little tedious to stitch right here. And I have to be careful with the backside because it can knot up easily on the backside and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to stitch two hand just so I can keep track of my thread on the backside. One more. There you go. I mean, it's not hard. It's just tedious is all, as you can probably see. Stitching right on the edge like that. And I have to keep my finger in the back so I can feel the thread. So I was listening to a story. It was a true crime podcast. I think it's called True Crime Weekly with Stephanie Harlow and Derek Levasseur. And they were talking about a story last week. They posted it last week about a lady out of Albuquerque. She was being stalked by like her ex-boyfriend. Like, and I mean, this was in the 90s. So like his resources, the way that he was able to stalk her is astounding, to be honest. To the point where he was so jealous that she found a new boyfriend that he stalked her all the way to California, showed up at her house and killed her. And I was just like, that's crazy. Like that the people go to that length. Like if I can't have you, nobody can. Like that's kind of scary. Like as a woman, if you think about it, like how petrified would you have been? And they were talking about like how did the Albuquerque like police department didn't catch it? And I was just like, I lived in New Mexico and we lived there in like 2015 through like 2017, somewhere around there, 2018, right before the panoramic happened. And I was like, they still do that. Like you put in a complaint, they don't listen. Drunk driving's rampant out there. There's drugs running rampant out there. It's not, I wouldn't say Albuquerque is a very safe place from when I lived there. So I'm like, I'm not surprised, to be honest with you, that she had the issues. And like when he would like violate the restraining order, they wouldn't really do anything about it. And I was just like, it's scary being a woman. Like, and that's what like we went grocery shopping last week, and I was having that conversation with my daughter, and she's like, "Mom, I feel like you're just overly paranoid." And I was like, "It's not that I'm overly paranoid. I work in the hospital where I see like things happen, right? Like victims of violence and stuff like that." And I was just like, it just makes me more aware of my surroundings and more aware of my interactions with people. And then we started discussing this, like about how often you come in contact like with the person that has committed murder, right? Whether it's a one-time offense or a serial killer. And I was like, statistically, people come in contact with a serial killer or not serial killer, somebody that's committed murder at least 36 times in their lifetime. And she's like, is it that high? I was like, statistically, yes. And that's from the ones that we've caught. Like, we don't know how many people have actually committed murder, right? Like, we don't know any of that. So she was kind of like laughing at me. She goes, of course you would know the statistics, Mom. Like, I'm like, hey, don't judge me. And that's why we have things in place for when like our kids are out and about, and why we do all the things to try to teach them to be aware of their surroundings and, stuff like that. So I just thought it was funny that we had that conversation when we were out and about grocery shopping last week. I haven't done really much anything since then. I'm just trying to get our household back on track. For a while there, like I was kind of being lazy and wanting to eat out. I was just so tired because I was working so much and going to school. I was working like 4 days a week, guys, and going to school and doing my cross stitching channel and getting my house, like try to get my house on in track. So from getting my house back on track, and sorry guys, I took a sip of coffee. Um, yeah, like I started like doing my meal planning, and my kids prefer like home cooked food because we eat a lot of like Korean food and Mexican food. We do some American food, not a lot, but or I guess what we would deem as American food, here. I don't know what we would cook here in the States. Um, Let me think. What else did we get done? Not much. I feel like this week's been pretty chill now that I got the school year started and I can kind of see what my workload's going to be like for my online class. Well, other than that, not too much going on so far this summer. What have you guys been up to? Anything fun, interesting? We were talking about, because here in Colorado, we can go up to Wyoming and get fireworks. But I was like telling my husband, like we have a whole bunch, guys, we have a cellar, like it's really cold in it. So not just our basement, but we have an actual cellar attached to our basement. So that's where we store like our fireworks, things that are like temperature sensitive, like all of our canning stuff that we're going to be doing. Like we're getting it set up so that way I can do canning next year for our garden to save and preserve things. So I was like, I want to go and get fireworks, but with all the dang tariffs that are still in effect, it's like, where are fireworks from? China. Who invented them? The Chinese. Where are they manufactured? China. Like, we always do, like, our whole neighborhood does, like, AKA a block party. If you don't know what a block party is, guys, I'll explain it to you just briefly. It's where all of our neighbors come together, everyone's lighting off fireworks, and we kind of just all intermingle. Last year, there wasn't a lot of people that did a lot of fireworks. Normally we do, but I feel like it's because the ones that did those kind of things sold their houses. So it's like getting the new neighbors on board with, hanging out and everyone's sitting out in the streets and enjoying fireworks together. So I'm hoping that the new neighbors will come out this year. Because like we will pull our barbecue grill out in front and we'll be grilling and we'll be socializing with our family and then the neighborhood, friends, stuff like that. It's fun. But last year, a lot of people didn't do it. So hopefully they'll pick up on it. That's what we do, is like a block party for our little community. Sorry, guys, I had to adjust my frame. I didn't realize it was slowly creeping that way. I am super thirsty. Like I've said before in my other videos, I do one filming day a week, like where I just knock out all of my videos. And I'm like, I get so parched, guys. Like, I don't know how people be doing this. But they probably film like a little bit every day. I just don't have time to do that, unfortunately. So, yeah. And again, like usual, I'm doing laundry. Story of a mom life, right? Instead of being stitching with Steph, it should be stitching and laundry with Steph. Maybe I should change my channel name, huh? And then I'm doing spring cleaning too. This week I'm doing like linens too. I got to get all the pet hair and all that fun stuff out of the house. So, you know how that goes. I hear my daughter creeping towards my door. Maybe she hears me talking to you guys. I forgot to put up my filming sign so that everyone knows that I'm filming. I gotta take her somewhere later, aka she's gonna drive herself and then I'm gonna drive back home. I'm hoping she can take her driver's license test by the end of the summer. She's a lot more comfortable now. We were driving the other day. She goes, you know what I've learned? People that have jacked up rear ends, I stay away from them. And I said, well, why? She goes, because that means they like to slam on their brakes. I was like, yeah, that's true. Good eye, kiddo. Like, I'm proud of you for recognizing that. And I mean, she's absolutely correct. People that get rear-ended, most of the time, I wouldn't say all the time, I wouldn't say that it's true all the time, because all of us have been victims of people not paying attention, right? But more often than not, they either slam on their brakes because they're not paying attention or something along those lines, right? I just thought it was funny. She's like, yeah, Mom, I'm just going to stay away from those people. And I was like, whatever makes you happy in your driving, kiddo. As long as you're safe, that's all I care about. You just got to pay attention to what you're doing, right? And I have a lot more patience than my husband does. So naturally, I'm the one teaching the kids to drive, which is absolutely hilarious because I'm like, are you sure you want me to teach them to drive? Because I had my license taken away when I was younger for speeding and street racing. Like, are we sure that I'm the best option, guys? But my kids would prefer me to teach them than their dad just because they say that I have a lot more patience. And it's because my husband's typically pretty quiet. So when he does speak, it comes off like very stern and loud. And I'm just like, you do know there's a nicer way of saying that. He's like, what? I'm not saying anything any type of way. And I'm just like, okay, Jeeves, okay. If you say so, sir. If you say so. Well, I might actually finish this. Maybe, maybe not. I only have like 2 more stitches left. I'll probably finish this column here. Maybe the next time we do a stitch with me with our large koi within the next week, Maybe I'll have this done. I have not been able to get like anything done on this canvas, guys. Again, my priority during the summertime is spending time with my kids and gardening. I do a lot of stitching during the winter months, to be honest. But now that I have my YouTube channel, I feel like it gives me a reason to like do stuff. All right, guys, I think we'll call this Stitch With Me done for this week.
That concludes another Stitch with me for this week for our large koi and peony canvas. If you hung around to the end, thank you. I really appreciate you hanging out with me today. If you'd like to follow me on other social media platforms, I do have a TikTok and an Instagram. My handler on those platforms are stitching_with_Steph, as well as that Facebook group that is linked down in the description box. Again, thank you for hanging out with me today. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button so that way you can stay connected with us over here on Stitching with Steph. Until the next time, I'll see you in another Stitch with me or a review. I'll see you guys then. Have a good day. Bye bye.